Well, earlier this week, we found out who our Hal Jordan was going to be, and it is Kyle Chandler. Now we've got some new reports that this might have been the toughest role James Gunn and his new DC Universe have attempted to fill so far, and it's exactly the reason you think. Legacy of a failed project. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about the latest report about the DC Lantern series and why it was so difficult to get a lead actor for the series. Apparently, they went through 5. Well, there's a ton of buzz surrounding the upcoming Lantern series, and in recent weeks we started to get reports DC Studios was looking for some big names. This included Chris Pine, Matthew McConaughey, and even Josh Brolin. Now, the simple fact that James Gunn and Peter Safran were looking for actors in their 50s and 60s to play a Green Lantern raised a lot of eyebrows. But it seems like the main idea for the series is Hal and Guy Gardner to be the veteran core members, and for the spotlight to be put on the much younger John Stewart, suggesting to many that John Stewart will be this new DC Universe's Green Lantern, just like the classic animated series. Now, quite honestly, skipping Hal's origin after 2011's Green Lantern film, which was an absolute disaster, really for me isn't the worst idea, but does feel a little extreme. I mean, Ryan Reynolds still makes frequent jokes about it, so I guess it's fresh in people's minds, and DC probably wanted to avoid the punchlines. Now, earlier this week, Kyle Chandler, who's really best known for a lot of his work on TV, especially Friday Night Lights, was finally cast as Hal Jordan. And to many, this suggested DC had kind of given up on taking up an A-list movie star to pick up the role. Now, we got a report from Jeff Snyder, and this is where I find it a little interesting. Now, Snyder claims that at least 5 big-name stars turned James Gunn down for the part, and this was mostly because they felt like it carried too much baggage from their previous failed Green Lantern movie. Now, we did get some other reports suggesting that Kyle Chandler does not have a movie component to this role, suggesting he might not even make it out of the Lantern series alive, or at minimum, DC has very limited future plans for Hal. Now, let's be real, Chandler is a great talent, but compared to some of the other names they were stacking up, well, it's definitely not as high profile. I do find it pretty curious that so many people found the 2011 film still so fresh in their mind. We've seen a lot of franchises absolutely take a dump and still be able to find talent to attach themselves well within a decade. The Green Lantern film is considered one of the all-time most laughable superhero films ever, but if you go back and watch it, well, the negative buzz and perceptions are definitely a lot bigger than actually how bad the film is. Now, there's still a lot of details about the Lantern series we do not know. We're still waiting to get some news on a casting for John Stewart. We are hearing a couple names kicked around for that part, but really nothing has been solidified yet. It's set to go into production in January, so I highly suspect DC Studios is going to have all these casting details worked out very, very soon. Who turns out to be Hal Jordan's young recruit? Well, we're going to have to wait and see.